welcome everyone to our first Harvest Hub canning class. We're really excited that you're here. I'm Shelly Argabright. I'm the Director of Population Health, Innovation, and Informatics at the Garrett County Health Department. And beside me is Sue Sisler.
Hi.
And what do you do at the Health Department, Suze?
I do our public affairs specialist. I handle social media and whatever else you put me to work on.
So if you saw this on your Facebook or in our emails, that's Suze's handiwork. She also happens to be really crafty and really handy in the kitchen. So we had this opportunity through a Maryland Department of Health grant. We work with our local farmers and we try to create healthy local meals. Chef Rob Scardina is on the other side of the camera today, and he works with us and the Southern High School culinary program to really create meal boxes, and we try to increase nutrition and food security through that. So our Maryland Department of Health CSA grant helped sponsor this evening for participants that got to come out to this beautiful facility at Garrett College. So this is their brand new teaching kitchen, and you'll see that throughout the video. And we also want to thank another grantor. It is it's called Healthy Together. It's an initiative through AHEC West. Several of us in Allegheny and Garrett counties are part of that. It is through, we also want to thank the Community Health Resources Commission. They have a large grant that we get to take part in, so they bought all of the amazing green beans. So thank you to them. And you'll notice we have two websites. We have GoGarrettCountyPlus.com. That is all of our Healthy Together work. We have all of our food boxes on there, all chronic disease initiatives, and we also have a prize shop. We also have Go Garrett County. That was the original, and there's a prize shop on there as well. You can earn prizes and participate on both sites, and we just encourage you to do that. So this evening, our participants get one of these wonderful ball canning guides that Sue's picked out, and an apron. So all the participants are wearing that, and we're gonna have some pressure canners, jars, and things that you'll need in both prize shops. So we're really excited for the grant funding to be able to help our community preserve fresh food and really just help their families all through the winter. I'm gonna turn it over to Suze, who's gonna go really through an outline of the evening. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, hello everybody. She introduced me. I'm Suze. I have been canning since I was yay big. Mom put me to work, and one of the easiest ones is green beans, so that's where we're starting. We have a couple things we're going to go through, main one being like safety. Pressure canners, a lot of people find them intimidating because they do have a lot of pressure involved, but once you get the hang of it, they're not really that scary. So we're going to go over some basic safety, hygiene, some things about the book, different equipment. Then we're going to go over how to get everything ready to can. You don't really want to just jump right in sometimes because it's a time-consuming process. Where to get your produce, how to prepare it, how we're going to get the jars all ready, everything like that. And then we will do canning of some. I just ask that nobody get really close to the canner once we have started the process. They're decently safe, but if you're jumping around them or something, which I don't foresee, but if anybody's doing big movements, it could have a problem. So after a certain point, I'll just ask you to stand back. And then after that, we do a certain amount of time that they have to be canned, and then we'll go on how to unload them safely and how to take the pressure off. And in the meantime, we'll have discussion, and you guys can start prepping your own and whatever else if you have questions or anything like that. So we'll get started here in just a minute, but do
Health Department standards, and Chef Rob Scardina is here to oversee all of our safe food handling practices, and we want to make sure that everyone always does that, and there's a whole entire section in this book about how to safely handle your food and make sure that it stays preserved.
And if you do have any questions too, you can look it up on USDA.com. They have a canning section. You can find a lot of information there too. So that's who we're going by along with that. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments before we get started? All right, then I think we're heading there. The one thing I'm going to mention is once we have the pressure canner, the lid on, it's sealed,
don't unseal it. You will scald yourself. It would not be good. You may not even be able to because it's pressurized. But that's one of the biggest, just don't do that. Okay, so we went over the book. This mainly, you want to keep it even if you've done it for years because it's going to give you the weight you need to put on your canner. It's going to give you the amount of time you have to can everything, and it's going to tell you like what additional preservatives you need, things like that, and headspace, which headspace varies on different things that you're canning because of how the product, like green beans aren't going to swell up, they're going to stay about the same, but other stuff will, and so you're going to want to watch the headspace. So this is super helpful. If you can't find it in here, USDA, that has it too. Okay, so a side note, online recipes are not tested. So they do not go through USDA, they do not go through a scientific process to determine if they can develop botulism, things like that. So if you are going to use an online recipe, you may want to run it by someone that's canned a long time. Not me, because I can't tell that. But it is a scientific process of reaching a certain temperature so that you're killing all any bacteria or anything like that. So online recipes, not necessarily safe. There's some big clues too. You cannot can dairy, you can't can flour. There's some that have changed, like it used to be you could can pumpkin puree, but now they say to cube it because of the density. So those you can look out for. And we already talked about a little bit of the two different types of canners. There's the hot water bath, which you fill pretty much all the way, hot boiling water. It's a little less intimidating. You can a lot of things that way. But the second one is the pressure canner, which is gonna have a lid like this. These are your weights. The recipe will tell you how much weight you need on there. Right now we have 10. Underneath here is the seal. If for some reason, well, whenever you get a new canner, you want to take this out, wash it really good to get any oils or anything off. But if you're using an old canner, a hand-me-down or something, and you want to take this out, soak it, and then if it just feels like it's a little rigid or brittle, put oil on it, vegetable oil or something like that, and it should loosen it up. So you want to make sure your seal is good. You're supposed to check that every year, I think. On the top here, there's a button that's going to tell you when the pressure is there, when you've reached pressure, and then you add your weights, which we will get into more. But when you put this on, there's a little hook back here. You're going to put the lid on like this, and then you turn it to seal it. So yeah, that is our pressure canner. And because a canner is building pressure, it's important not to just leave it. If you have the temperature high, we're going to talk about how you adjust it and everything, but I would not suggest, going outside and having a picnic or something. You want to stay within ear reach so you can hear it, whatever the words are. Yeah, so you do want to keep an eye on it. It's still a piece of equipment that, while not generally dangerous, if you use it irresponsibly, it can be. So, next we'll move on to jars. There are different types of jars. So for pressure canning, you want to get a jar that is usually ball or cur, or it's made for pressure canning. There's old Miracle Whip jars are what a lot of people have used for canning, but you use that in hot water baths. You do not want to use it in pressure canning because they are not as thick as these are. I think there's a couple other brands, but you just want to make sure they're rated for pressure canning. The lids, you can get off-brand lids, but I don't like them. The Amish stores sell really good ones, but otherwise Ball is about your best way to go. This one here is a wide mouth pint. There's regular mouth. You can use that just as well. Honestly, it usually just depends how easy you want to pour it out. So for green beans, this is just as easy. And then you have your rings. Generally, when you buy the jars, they're going to come with rings. So, yeah, there's that. Let's see. And the lids, once you use them, You can pitch them, you buy new lids. You do not have to buy new rings, just lids. Okay, now we have these are not necessary, but they are nice. So your funnel, I honestly don't use this, but it's to get the lids to put them on. This, however, is important. When you are getting the jars and putting them in and out of water can, especially the hot water bath, I find it helpful. You want to go down and reach and grab up like this. When you pull it out, you want to make sure you're not twisting or turning. I watch the pressure on the ring a little bit too, but yeah, that's what this thing is. All right, so we already got started with washing our jars. I sanitize them. You can do that in a dishwasher. I just put them in a boiling pot of water, let them sit for a while. So we have some jars there that are ready. While you get your jars washed, you're getting everything like that, you're gonna put a pot of water to boil. That we're gonna use later, but it takes a little bit of time. So before we actually get started on this part of it, any questions?
So the washing it in the dishwasher is just as good as...
As long as you have a high temperature dishwasher that says sanitize, you should be good. All right, thank you. All right, so with these jars, we already have them ready. For the boiling water, you can use tap water as long as it's safe to drink. You can use tap water for your canner too. You might notice it changes the inside color a little bit. I've heard you can just put vinegar in it, it'll clear that up. Okay, so I honestly don't care. I don't care what color it is. But, so why don't you guys all come on in and we'll go over the actual beans. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay some out here. These, I let them get a little warm, so they might be a little harder to snap, but so for buying produce, or if you grow your own, which is what I prefer to do, because it still can get expensive to buy a bushel of green beans. But if you are looking for tomatoes, green beans, kidney beans, whatever, there's a couple farms in the area that sell in bulk. The main one I know is Mountain Valley Produce. They're the ones who gave us these, or we got them from them. They always have really nice stuff. That's where I tend to go. But, and you can ask for them in bushels, things like that. Some of the places, if you really want to save money, you can pick your own, and it cuts down the price significantly. It's just an hour or two out in the sun picking beans. But, all right, so with the actual bean, you can do it two different ways. You can wash them first, then snap them, or you can snap them and then wash them. I prefer this way just because I figured they're gonna get dirty. And you can do it on the porch, you can do it in the kitchen. My mom used to put on Anna Green Gables. We just sat there and did beans, so whatever. And I was telling Chef, it's kind of it's a family thing. You get everybody in, you sit and you talk, you snap beans. It's kind of a heritage that I think is cool to pass down. But when you get a bean, you're gonna snap off the top bit, the bottom bit, and then you're gonna put them about the size of your thumb and just break them up and put them in the bowl. And if you get them bigger, not a big deal, smaller, whatever. So if you guys wanna help me out with that while keep doing it, we need just enough to fill these 5 jars, which will not be a terrible amount.
Yep, okay.
Okay, so this canner here holds 5 to 7 jars. You generally don't want to do a load under 5. That's what we're going with tonight. This usually works better with the regular mouth. You don't really need it for these, but you're just going to take a handful, put it in. Now, with some of the recipes, it will say do not shake. Green beans aren't one of them. So this one though is going to call for, I believe, 1 inch of head space. I should have checked that a second ago. Thank you. Good. I don't trust my memory. So, green beans you can, other stuff not so much. So this is the top to the bottom of those rings, about 1 inch headspace. So you just want to go to the, I have a little extra, you want to go to there, and when you fill it up with water, you're still going to keep it at that line. And if you find that you're over that, you're going to have to adjust, because once they have pressure, they will push up and things like that, and you won't get a seal. So, if you guys want to load up some of those, I'm going to get the pot of water, so just to 1 inch. And I'm going to have boiling water right here, just to let you know. So it might get a little toasty. It's salt. I was telling them that you want to get the canning salt. It's not regular salt, it's not iodinized, I don't think. And your recipe in your Blue Book or USDA will tell you how much salt per jar. These are pints. We're going to do a ½ teaspoon of salt per jar. I put it in before the water so I can tell which jars I have salted, because I forget things. But green beans, you do not have to salt, but I choose to because it tastes better. So. As I was telling them, just because something is canned in the store doesn't mean you can can it at home. Canners for companies or whatever, like industrial canners, they reach higher temperatures, more pressure, everything like that, so they can actually kill off more germs and things like that. So you do want to make sure it's a good recipe. Just even if you find it at the store, doesn't mean you can can it. So. Okay. So, after we have the beans loaded, the salt is in. Like I said, you can do it any order. That's my preference. You're just gonna take the water, hot, boiling, whatever, and ladle it on. Now, if for some reason your jars are cold, which they shouldn't be careful doing this. The abrupt temperature change can cause issues. And the older the jars too, after a while, sometimes they wear out and they break. So, we've got about 1 inch headspace there. The salt is down in. It's looking pretty good. Then you take, you can use the other end of this. It doesn't matter. Take something rubber. You cannot use metal for some reason. I don't know that one. And you just go, you look for any bubbles that might be trapped down in. And just go down the sides and make sure they are out. If they are in, they can explode in the canner. Won't hurt you, but it can make the jars explode. Especially with more dense stuff. This isn't gonna be bad. If there's a bubble, it's probably gonna work itself out.
If there's a bubble, that's
Yes.
what we're making sure we have no bubbles.
No bubbles. And like I said, especially with things like the corn would be a little more like the applesauce is the big one. Like you wanna make sure you get every bubble out of there.
Okay.
Or it can,
Check around the glass, not in the middle.
around the glass, oddly enough. I mean, I think because you're pouring the water, you move it around enough, it's gonna all come up. And I usually do. I fill them all, go through them all. Just watch, they can get pretty hot. But yeah, that's pretty good. Doesn't really have any bubbles or anything. There's the headspace, we're good. Oh, there is a bean with a flaw there. We're gonna just, after you get them loaded, you can take hot water, you can take hot Toby water, whatever, to wipe the rims. This is the trick I found out in the last couple years, is to put vinegar, because the vinegar will break down a lot of things that you might have on it. You just go around the top, like that. You find a lid, which I don't know what, thank you. You wipe down the rubber part of the lid. I mean, you can still, if you touch it, you touch it. It's not quite as particulate. Put that on. I'm gonna put the ring on, and they say 2-finger tight, so just tight enough, like that. You do not want to tighten it down too much, or it can also explode or cause issues. You just want it 2-finger tight. see how many. If you guys want to do that, because I definitely want you to get a feel for how tight you do it. So I will put some water in them if you guys want to just wipe them down and put the lids on. Once I realize where I put the lids. All right, so you do 2 inches of water in the bottom there. I think you could air with a little over 2 inches, just not under. But then there's, I don't want to stick my hand in there because I turned it on, but there's a rack or a disc kind of that you sit down in. You want that, you do not want your cans just sitting on the bottom against the, yeah, they could bust. So versus water bath where you fill it all the way up, 2 inches is the way you go. So then I'm gonna scoop
2 inches from the bottom, not from the rack.
I mean, the rack's so minuscule that you're probably not going to tell. Some of them have a mark. I do not see it in this one. Mine does, and it tells you about where to fill it up. Yeah, you just want to make sure there's a decent amount. So then, we've got our jars. They have hot water. If you have done anything, they've gotten cold, whatever, you do not want to stick a cold jar in a hot canner. So you want to make sure that they're still decently warm. Set them on in. You do not want them butted right up against each other, so you're gonna put just a little bit of space there. And you don't want it necessarily touching the sides. Do you wanna go ahead and bring those over? That would be super, thank you so much. Now they make canners, thank you, that like stack and everything. I have never dealt with any of those, but they do exist. I just try to keep enough space. I could have done 7. I should have done 7. Oh well. All right, so.
You want us to get one ready?
No, because I didn't sanitize anymore.
Okay.
But otherwise I'd say yes. So this is that lip I was talking about there. It coincides, I think with that. Yeah, with that piece there. You're gonna put your lid like this. You're gonna twist it on. Now, the next part is you have to let it vent for 10 minutes. So we have to bring it up to boiling. The steam will start coming out there. We turn it down so it's not like crazy, but we let that happen for 10 minutes. This little thing will pop up, and then after we've let it vent, everything, we put the weight on, which that was something I never knew from my mom. I learned that semi-recently, and I'm still like, it's a little weird, but we're going with it. In the meantime, I have towels here. When we get around to removing it, we're gonna go over that, but we're gonna take them out, put them on the towels, and then some people suggest just taking another towel and putting it over top, so you're keeping like a constant temperature, less breakage, things like that. But yeah, so we're gonna let that heat up. In the meantime, I'm thinking we could probably get a bunch of beans snapped. You guys will have some to take home with you, so if you wanna snap them now, you can, and put them in a bag, and you'll have them ready. Or you can just take them out. So if you guys wanna see, you can see the steam coming up, it is starting to vent. So I need to set a timer at some point, and we want to let it do that for about 10 minutes. When it gets like crazy venting, I turn it down a little bit. But as you can see back here, that popped up. This I think is a safety feature. So if it really gets bad, that'll come out, but it shouldn't. So, but yeah, we're gonna let that vent for about 10 minutes.
Timer on for 10 minutes.
Thank you. So after it, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, after it vents for 10 minutes, then you put the weight on it. We're just gonna watch the temperature. And right now, it does not count as the canning time. It has to start doing the little jiggle to start your timer. And if it stops jiggling, you have to restart your timer, which is the worst. All right, so.
What is the timer on?
We need it for 20 minutes, but we'll wait till it builds the pressure that it needs.
Okay.
All right, and I want it to be, so we're just gonna turn the temperature down a little bit. You do not wanna change it abruptly. Like, don't go from the highest to the lowest setting. Just gently adjust it. Listen for when it starts calming down a little bit, and just do it by ear, kind of. But yeah, it's a little strong right now. Here a little bit. It's like a sweet point that you want to hit, where it doesn't stop moving, but it doesn't move continuous like high pressure.
Okay.
That might be all right. Let me even touch it. This speed here, that's about perfect. You can, I mean, different canners are different ways. This one is a continuous rock. There are canners where you want it just to gently jiggle and then let off steam. This is pretty good, especially since this is only 20 minutes. If I were to do this for 2 hours, or like, not 2 hours, I think one is an hour and a half. I might try to get a little lower. I can't get it any lower on this stove. So you just adjust as needed. But I'm comfortable with that. It's safe, it's letting pressure out, we're good. Okay. So after you've canned it, you're going to turn it off, let it sit. When this little thing in the back goes down, it is safe to remove the lid. So when you remove the lid though, because it is still really hot, you're gonna do the twist, lift it, and then keep it away from yourself when you take it off. I have got hot water on my feet, I don't know how many times. And keep your arms back because it will have steam. It probably won't burn you, it's probably not that hot, but just be careful. Sometimes I just let it sit for a while until everything's cool. After that, we already went over this kind of, but you're gonna reach in, grab it with these. You do not want to touch them, they'll be very hot. They will not be sealed necessarily. And you'll notice some bubbling, things like that, that's okay. You'll take it, set it down, try not to like jostle it, try not to tip it over, anything like that. Just set it on a towel. And then after you get all of them out, you're gonna just like gently lay this over top. You need to find a spot that's gonna let you store them there for 24 hours. So you want to try not to move them for 24 hours. That's the main bit of that. Just mainly is when you open that canner, just be careful of the steam. You really want to keep back a little bit. Let's see. So then after it's been there for 24 hours, you can remove the ring, take a washcloth, clean around it, especially depending how dirty. Green beans don't really get that dirty. It's not as big a deal. If you're doing meat or peaches, things like that, you want to clean it. And yeah, you store it like this. When your jars have been sitting there, you should hear, as she was saying, a little ping sound. That tells you that it is sealed. However, you can get false seals. So just kind of test them a little bit if you want to. I generally just keep an eye on it. If it's sitting there for a day and it didn't seal, it's probably gonna pop back up. But while they are sealing, you do not want to go along and poke them or anything like that. It'll just mess it up. So when you have the jar, let's say down there for 3 or 4 months, you're gonna go eat it. There's some things to check for. If you get it out, if you notice anything, any color, any mold, anything, do not eat it. Do not try to save any of it, just pitch it. And that's general. If you aren't sure, get rid of it, because botulism is nothing to mess around with. Check around here. Meats, you'll notice on the lid, there'll be coloring, like any of it, you can get some coloring on the lid. And that's fine, that's normal. The parts that are out of the water, they might get a little discolored. Again, normal. This will probably get darker, just the whole thing in general. Corn, depending on how sweet of corn it is, it'll change color. But yeah, most of that just, I mean, as you can see, there's markings, like I'm gonna probably wash that off, and those are fine. Like that's just part of the canning process. But if you notice anything that looks like it's growing or anything like that, just throw it out. Most jars, like I said, I can open with my fingers like that, that is fine. If you can open them easily though, don't keep it. I'm trying to think if there's anything that would really give you any more clues. That's the main part of what you want to look for. Let me make sure my notes don't have anything else. Yeah, so make sure jars are sealed, check for any weird colors, wipe lids before opening. It's always a good practice to heat them up again too, because just be extra safe. Oh, and last one, if it smells off, just don't eat it. Pretty much, if it's been sitting down there 6 months, you're gonna know. I mean, it's pretty easy to tell. So, that is the most important part of it. And if you're concerned, just pitch it. And it's 1 jar out of however many jars you're gonna get out of a bushel of green beans. So, that pretty much is what we're gonna cover tonight. If you guys have any questions, which I think we've had plenty of time for any questions, but if you have any, you're welcome to ask them. And you each have an apron, a blue book, beans to take home. And I really appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.